Hello everyone and welcome to my channel again. This time we have a slightly different car, obviously still a BMW as you can see, but this particular vehicle is one of my dad's 7 Series he has. I believe he's got this about 15 years ago and it has been off the road for about 7 or 8 years, so we've really just more or less got it running to be honest. But I will probably put the video up after this one of us actually first time starting. As you can see, it is fairly stock. This is a 750i, so this is a 5 litre V12, the biggest engine you can get in this shape 7 Series. He hasn't really done a lot to it apart from lower it and put the 2-piece VVS wheels on that you can see up close as well. I absolutely love these wheels, but they're just so much money and it's just too much stress for what I'd personally want. As you can see, properly prepared with the bird poo all over it as well. Didn't even bother cleaning it because it's a bit last minute, this one was. But this has been my daily driver for the last, well, more or less daily driver apart from a couple of nights, the last 3 weeks I think, and I've absolutely loved it. This for me is one of my realistic dream cars, not in this exact spec but this shape. I absolutely love everything about it. The only thing that I don't really like is the auto, but it sort of suits it to waft about in. So the exterior is more or less standard. He has got these rear backlights as well, which I think suits it. I'm not usually a fan of aftermarket lights on the older cars, but this particular colour kind of sets it off quite well compared to the normal amber. As you can see, the paintwork is absolutely shocking, but mechanically it's not too bad to be honest. Coming to the inside, it's more or less quite a basic spec of what you usually get in the E32s. You get the standard aircon, electric seats, leather, sunroof, all the standard stuff, but no heated seats, no double glazing, no fridge like you get in the long wheelbase ones and things like that. Yeah, so like I said, this is the 5 litre V12 M70 engine, so it's quite a reliable and good engine to be honest. Not a massive amount of power by today's standards, but 300 does make it pretty quick really for nowadays as well. That's more or less the exterior spoken about. There's not really a lot to speak about with this car. The one thing I do love is the wide nose on the front end of these E32s. The only ones that have the wider nose is the V8 and the V12s, which a lot of people don't really know about. And the same with the front splitter, that's specific to this vehicle, to the 750s, and only on the 90 and onwards basically, which I absolutely love. So I think it's time to see what it drives like. Obviously we're in the interior now, and everything in here is more or less standard by the looks of things, apart from this lovely M-Tech 1 wheel, which was originally off an E30 I believe, because the steering wheels in these are absolutely hideous I think standard. And I think these seats are actually out of a different model because this had blue leather from factory, which my dad is not a fan of, which I personally think would have looked better. But yeah, so using this daily has been very different to the cars I've had in the past. Like, I've had some cars which are good on fuel and bad on fuel, but the ones that are bad on fuel make this look even worse. So, but I think it's all worth it really. If it's something you truly like, then it doesn't really matter to a certain extent. I mean, I haven't really worked it out, but I think roughly £50 gets you about 100 miles, which usually in my 36 would probably be around 25, which I used to think was terrible, which it still is for a 4-cylinder. It's a completely different sort of car. You don't really buy it to be good on fuel, to be honest. But even considering the size of it, it's just so easy to drive. I'd probably say it's easier to drive than the 36 I drove last week, but it's just completely different. Maybe because the suspension's softer, maybe because it's a better tyre setup, I'm not sure what it is, but or maybe it's just because it's a 7 Series. But these would have been a very expensive car in the day, and you could just tell the way it's holding up. The interior is still in very good condition. that is the blower motor, which was seized and it's not anymore, luckily. Just do a quick U-turn, go back to where we come from, and probably finish up the video there, but I'm not sure what else there might be to talk about on this one. So yeah, around town you're probably averaging, if you're very light-footed, which I'm not most of the time, but in this car, because it's not mine, obviously I have been, I've managed to get around 15 miles to the gallon, which I spoke to a few people is good for one of these. The highest I've got up to was about 18, I think, and that was on a run. But I never used to like the V12s. I don't mind them, but I personally want the V8 just because I find them a bit more reliable and they're just a better engine in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with these M70s, I just think they're a bit dated for the time now and they do have their issues. And a lot of people don't really know how to work with them, including myself, which is probably why I'm not really a fan of them. But it's I think it's sort of the forgotten, like, not 70, but forgotten BMW in a way. You know, you think of 80s BMW, you probably think of like the E30 and like the E34s and stuff like that. Maybe even the E28s, but you never really think of like the E32s or anything older like the 23s and things like that, which is a bit of a shame. So they're very iconic cars. Gets a lot of attention. Like I used to think my car got a lot of attention, but this just gets different sort of attention, which I absolutely love as well. Although I don't like the fact of people asking if it's a 5 Series, I can't really blame them because they're still showing interest in it, which is still really nice. I'm not really sure what his plans are with this one. I've been asking for years to sell it to me, but he won't, so I'm probably just going to go back to storage, which is a bit of a shame, but you can't drive all of them at once. But I think that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you again for watching, and I will post the first start in 7 or 8 years, I can't remember what it was, in the next video. It's only about a minute or two long, but it'll give you a little insight to what it looks like after storage. Thank you.